welcome to this chat.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you.
I'm very interested in what you're up to. Obviously, you were part of Pain of Salvation. You've been part of a lot of different bands, I think. And Prehistoric Animals is something, of course, you're most currently involved in. And
Yes,
I guess introduce yourself and what you're up to.
my name is Daniel Magdic from Sweden. And yeah, well, my musical career, or if you could call it career, but was started with actually with Pain of Salvation. It was me started to play with Donny Ginelöv of Pain of Salvation at quite early age. I think I was like 13 years old or something when we started to play together. So we basically grew up together playing music, and we played together until, I don't know, really, like 1998 or something. It was just before the recording of their second album. So I was part of the first album and the second album, but I don't play on the second album. And then we went separate ways. And after that, I've been playing a bit in different bands, just playing around. I had a band called Renaissance of Fools that made 2 albums. I started to educate myself at the university and so on. And then came Prehistoric Animals. The story behind that is actually Stefan and Samuel, who's the drummer and the guitarist and singer. They have known each other for a lot of years. And they started to, make music together with no real intention that it would become something more than just fun songs that they made together. But they really liked the songs and decided to, when they had material, that they would release an album. And at that point, they also realized, well, now we have an album, we got to have a band. So that's when I came in, and Noah. And one funny part is that actually the one thing that got me into the band was, I had met Stefan a couple of times, but one time he heard me sound check with another band. And during the sound check, to check my guitar sound, I played a King Sex riff. I think it was It's Love. And afterwards, he immediately came up to me and said that, well, that's cool. You don't so often hear King Sex out here. So, and that's where our connection began. So, and we realized that we like a lot of bands together. For example, Rush. I have this because Canada. Yeah, of course.
Yes, of course.
That's the history. The short history.
You've got a brand new album coming out with
Yes.
Prehistoric Animals. I have the advanced copy. I haven't listened to it yet. I know some of your older material, and I'm really looking forward to this new album. I noticed in one of the comments it said a harder edge, maybe a little more heavier, little heavier riffs kind of moving. So what can we expect with the new album?
Well, I think it has a bit rawer sound to it, a bit more heavy guitars, and we really paid attention to the sound of especially the heavy guitars and also the bass sound together with the guitars to get this more. I wouldn't say gentle sound, but a more heavy and more in your face sound on the heavy guitar. So I think it's a bit rawer than the previous albums. But you will definitely hear like the foundation of what Prehistoric Animals is, with very much focus on melodies and a very melodic feel, I would say. I come to realize that nowadays when you usually make music at your computer, the parts tend to be in like very what would you say? Well, it's 4 beats here and then it's 8 beats here, and you get the computerized structure or something. But this time we tried to stretch things and not to be afraid to make some parts a bit longer, and so I think you can hear some of that too.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And have you ever considered have you worked with analog gear, or do you find you're always using digital gear usually?
Back into the days, as you can say nowadays, well, then you obviously used analog gear. I usually played Marshall amps for a long time. I still have that. I have a Randall. I'm not sure, Randall RH100, I think it's called. It's the with the different modules, preamp modules. You can switch modules in it. It's very cool amp, but it's heavy as fuck.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
but then again, nowadays the digital gear is becoming really good, and it's very convenient, especially if you are out playing in different countries. You can carry your amp, and then you don't really know what amp you are going to get at the venue. So I have my Line 6 Helix, so it's very convenient to have. You always know what sound you are going to get. So, and actually I have used it to the last albums. I've just used that to record the guitars as well, because I think it's I'm getting used to it, and I think I can get a really good sound of it from a real amp. You can get out more, but it's much more complicated. It demands much more of you to get a good sound from your amp when you're recording. So yeah, so basically now it's just the digital gear.
So there seems to be a pretty good scene, music scene in Sweden. I mean, in the whole of Europe, prog rock is pretty popular, and prog metal and stuff. It's certainly not dying as a genre. How do you feel about the prog metal genre in general? What's the health? How healthy is it? How is it going?
Yeah, well, I'm often surprised about how many bands there are that are like progressive rock, progressive metal, and whatever. And like in Sweden, there are a lot of great bands. Unfortunately, I would say we have a great number of great bands here in Sweden, but the scene for progressive music in Sweden is not that good. So it's quite rare that you can find good concerts with progressive bands. It's mainly the big acts that gets here, and even for the Swedish band, it's hard to get out there and play. I spoke to Donny Gilnelöv a couple of years ago, and he actually said that their booking agency had said that, it's no idea to play in Sweden because you get bad venues, you get quite lousy paying, and so it's much better to play down in Europe. So I would say in the whole of Scandinavia, Norway have a lot of good progressive bands like Leprous, Marathon is really great, and Denmark has a great bands as well. So Mere is one really great band. It seems to be quite healthy. There are lots of new bands coming up, I would say. So
with every album you make, do you find that when it's time to do a new album, what is it that makes you want to do the album? Is this because you start writing songs, or is it sort of like, oh, I like what we did in that last album, but I want to kind of do something different this album? Or what kind of motivates you?
Actually, the thing that motivates us is that we just love to write music together, and it's an ongoing process. It's not like when we are recording an album that I would say we really never stop making music. we have a lot of songs that we haven't recorded yet, and we also have like I think like more than half the next album recorded, more or less. We just make music all the time. We send files back and forth to each other, and someone comes up with an idea or riff, and it inspires you to make something of it. And so it's an ongoing process all the time, I would say. So
I see. And are all the guys in Prehistoric Animals, are you all in the same city, or are you spread out a bit, or?
we're a bit spread out. Well, me and Stefan and Noah, the bass player, we are quite close. It's like in 15 kilometers or something. Samuel, the drummer, is living a bit further away, like 200 kilometers or something. So that's why a lot of the process is like you are sending files back and forth, and then we rehearse now and then to get ready for the stage, mainly.
Right. So you are going to be doing some more touring.
Well, we really hope so. Right now, the only thing we have a release party now on the 17th of May, but it's at the local venue here. I think November we have a gig in Poland. But then we really hope that we can get something together with some other band or something to go and play some more out there, because the problem for us is we are not that big, I think, that we can attract enough people. So I think we really need another band to open for. I think that would be the best thing for us.
I'm sure that after you record an album, there's a natural desire you have to go out and share it and perform live. What motivates you to perform live?
It's really to get in touch with your audience, because well, you record an album, you hope that people are buying it. You maybe can see that people are buying it. You can see some comments, but then to get out there and meet people and really talk to them, and that's wonderful, I think. And of course, performing is well, it's always fun, I think. We really enjoy. We also really enjoy playing together, and we also have a lot of fun when we are going out to play. So yeah, we always look forward to doing that. So. And
do you yourself go out and catch a lot of concerts? I'm sure through your lifetime you've probably seen quite a few bands. Have you seen Rush, for example, live?
Yeah, twice. At last,
nice.
I got to see them. It took some while before they came to Sweden. I tried to catch them like in the 90s. I think it was Roll the Bones tour. I tried to get hold of tickets somewhere in Germany or something, but it was a bit tougher. You couldn't go out on the internet and buy tickets. You had to call, and it was a bit harder. But then I saw 40th anniversary tour, I think it was, and the Snakes and Arrow tour, I think it was also. Cool. So yes, I finally got to see them.
Yeah, well, thank goodness, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so sad that Rush kind of ended, and of course Neil Peart passed away, and that was tragic. And
yeah, really.
Well, that's cool. I've seen Rush a couple of times. I saw Hold Your Fire tour, and also in the same one you saw the Snakes and Arrows one.
That's awesome, because it was one of my entries to the progressive world was A Show of Hands, the live album from, I think it was Hold Your Fire tour.
Yeah, that's right. That was from that period.
I really love the 80s period of Rush.
Yeah, me too. That's good stuff. I had that on the VCR tape though.
Yeah,
that live version. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. So who are your inspirations then as a well, first of all, as a guitarist? Although I guess you're a multi-instrumentalist. You don't just do guitar, do you? You also play keyboards and stuff?
I would say I cheat on keyboard.
Okay.
I'm not really good at playing keyboard, but I've done some. We have all of us have tried to fill up some live
Hmm.
playing keyboard. So I try to learn, but I'm mainly a guitarist. Yeah.
Who are your guitar heroes?
Oh, that's a tough one. There are so many.
Yeah.
Of course, I have to mention Alex Lifeson, of course. Especially his way of thinking about chord progressions, actually involving melodies in chord progressions. And sometimes when he's soloing with chords. It's almost uh, like jazzy guys does. One other guitarist that I really like that I think has inspired me a lot is Ty Tabor of King's X. He's the one who got me into like playing with the different tunings on guitars. Actually, one funny thing is that one thing I a bit have stolen from Ty Tabor is, if you're playing a chord, but you're changing your bass notes and makes them wonder and change the chords that way, while your upper tones remain the same chords. I actually heard an interview of Ty Tabor with him saying that he stole that from Alex Lifeson. So, yeah, maybe that's why I really enjoyed that. But he's been a great inspiration. But then, I mean, like Steve Vai, when you were a kid and you heard Passional Warfare, that's huge, of course. Joe Satriani, Steve Morse, I really liked a lot. I really love it, especially his High Tension Wires album is a masterpiece, I think. So, and then also some of the more like I really like Scott Henderson, for example. It's like fusion, but I think he has a lot of rock and roll in him, so I really enjoy that. So that's a few. Of course, you could mention a lot more.
Yeah, of course. But that does give me a little bit of insight. I know King's X is a band that I've reacted to on the channel because I wasn't really familiar with them.
Yeah,
And I was listening to reacting to one of their earlier songs, and I would have sworn it was later on. And it
yeah,
turns out it was much older. Like they were way ahead of the curve. They really
yeah,
were trend setting. And also, um, you could say for sure too, King's X is very popular among its peers,
yeah,
um, and that's always a good sign.
yeah.
Anything that I haven't covered yet that we should discuss about prehistoric animals?
I just hope that people will like find us and listen to the album and hopefully like it. I think that's the hard part these days is to reach out. You can make a really great album, but then you need people to listen to it and need people to discover it. And uh, there are so many bands, and I mean, all the streaming is great to get out, but well, there are so many bands that you need to reach through all of those bands. So I really hope that people will find it and that they will enjoy it, and that would make me and the band happy.
Great.
So
Well, I'm going
yeah,
to do I'm going to listen to the whole album, but I'm going to choose one song for a reaction video, and I was wondering
yeah.
what song should I react to from the new album? Which one's
Ooh, does it matter how long it is?
No, doesn't.
No. Mm, well, I really like the first song, "The City of My Dreams." It sets the scene for the album in a way, uh, and for the sound of the album. So yeah, that would be my choice.
Okay, excellent. I'm going to do that then. I'm going to react to that and probably release this
Cool.
video and that video around the same time
Ah, cool.
so people can check it out. So, well, that's really great. I really appreciate meeting you, Daniel,
Yeah.
and
Same to
thank
you.
thank you for your time and have a great concert, a great debut show coming up
Yeah. Thank you.
there. And we'll keep in touch.
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.